1:30 to 3:30. To understand what changed, you first have to understand what Facebook actually promised. When Mark Zuckerberg launched Facebook from a Harvard dorm room in 2004, the core idea was elegantly simple. Map the real-world social relationships onto the internet. Your feed would reflect your actual life, your friends, your family, the people you chose to let in. This was the social graph. And in 2006, Facebook built its newsfeed algorithm directly on top of it. The algorithm asked one question: what are the people you know saying right now? Not what's popular, not what's trending. What are your people saying? It was a genuinely powerful idea, and for a while it worked better than anything else on the internet. By 2012, Facebook had crossed 1 billion users. No platform in history had grown that fast. The social graph model looked like it had permanently solved the question of how people connect online. But something was quietly happening underneath the surface. Pages and groups had always existed inside Facebook. They were the interest graph elements hiding in plain sight within a social graph product, and their engagement numbers were telling a different story. A rival model was taking shape, and it had a completely different answer to the same question about what people actually want to see. 3:30 to 5:30. Around 2009 and into the early 2010s, a concept was taking shape inside the tech industry that most people outside it overlooked entirely. Twitter wasn't a social network. It was something closer to an interest graph. The distinction sounds technical, but it changes everything about how the platform works and who it works for. On a social graph, you see content because of who you know. The quality of your feed is bounded by the quality of your relationships and the posting habits of the specific people you happen to be connected to. On an interest graph, you see content because of what you care about, regardless of who made it. A stranger who shares your exact obsession with astrophotography becomes more relevant to your feed than a close friend who never posts about it. Pinterest made this structural difference impossible to ignore. When Pinterest filed to go public in 2019, their S1 filing revealed something that cut to the heart of the social versus interest graph debate. The overwhelming majority of engagement on Pinterest was driven by topics and interests, not by following other users. The social layer existed, but it was structurally beside the point. Users didn't need friends on Pinterest to get value from Pinterest. They needed interests. Think about what that means. Pinterest had built a platform used by hundreds of millions of people where the social graph was almost entirely incidental. And users didn't complain. They loved it. Pinterest grew steadily from around 10 million users in 2012 to 450 million by 2021, without ever making social connection its primary value proposition. The interest graph wasn't a compromise. It was a different theory of human attention. One that said people are more reliably drawn to what they care about than to who they happen to know. And the data was starting to prove it. Facebook had watched all of this, and they had drawn their own conclusions. 5:30 to 8 o'clock. Here's where the story gets uncomfortable. Facebook's engineers had been watching the engagement numbers from pages and groups, the interest graph elements that had always existed inside the platform. And what they were seeing was consistent. Interest-driven content kept people on the platform significantly longer than friend-driven content. They ran experiments. Group A saw a social graph ranked feed. Group B saw a feed weighted toward interest and engagement signals. The results weren't ambiguous. More time on platform meant more ads served. More ads served meant more revenue. The logic was straightforward, almost frictionlessly so. So, between 2016 and 2018, Facebook's newsfeed algorithm quietly shifted its weighting. The change wasn't announced. It wasn't explained. It was simply deployed. Friend posts didn't disappear from your feed, but they stopped being the primary signal. Pages, groups, viral content from strangers, content that generated comments, shares, and strong reactions. That was what the algorithm now rewarded most heavily. The engagement signal hierarchy had quietly shifted. Reactions, the angry face, the wow face, were weighted more heavily than a simple like. Comments were weighted more heavily than reactions. Shares were weighted more heavily than comments. And a friend's ordinary post sat near the bottom of the stack. Mid-roll breakpoint, approximately 6:30. And Facebook never announced this shift publicly. Never published a blog post explaining that interest and engagement signals had become the primary driver of what you saw. Never sent a notification. Never changed the product's name or description. Never updated the "Connect with Friends and Family" tagline that still appeared on the login screen. The product was still called Facebook. It still showed you your friends' birthdays. It still let you message people you knew. Every social feature was still present. Every social promise was still implied by the interface. But underneath, the machine had become something fundamentally different. It had become an interest graph wearing a social network's clothing. The brand promise said, "Here are your friends." The algorithm said, "Here is what will keep you scrolling." Eta de Plut Bort. While Facebook was quietly becoming an interest graph, a Chinese app called TikTok was building one from scratch and making no attempt to hide it. TikTok didn't pretend to be a social network. It didn't ask you to import your contacts or find your friends first. It asked you to watch. And then it watched you back. The For You page, the FYP, was the purest interest graph engine ever deployed at consumer scale. And the way it worked exposed something that the entire industry had been dancing around for a decade. You didn't need to follow anyone. The algorithm would figure out what you wanted by watching what you actually watched. Not what you said you wanted, not who you said you were, not which friends you happened to have on the platform. By September 2021, TikTok had 1 billion monthly active users, a milestone confirmed by the company and reported across major outlets. It had taken Facebook 8 years to reach that number, launching in 2004 and crossing 1 billion in 2012. TikTok did it in roughly 3, starting from zero, in markets where it had no brand recognition, with a product that offered no social graph at all. The FYP dominates usage patterns on TikTok. The following feed, the social graph component, plays a secondary role in how most users experience the platform. The architecture was never built around who you know. It was built around what you watch. TikTok proved what Twitter's early architecture had suggested and what Pinterest had demonstrated through its own engagement data. People don't primarily want to see what their friends are doing. They want to see content that matches what they actually care about, and they will accept it from complete strangers. The interest graph wasn't a niche alternative to social networking. It turned out to be what most people actually wanted from the internet. They just hadn't been given a clean version of it until TikTok forced the question into the open. But here's what the engagement numbers didn't show. In 2021, a former Facebook product manager named Frances Haugen walked out of the company with tens of thousands of internal documents. She gave them to journalists and to the United States Senate. What those documents showed, according to reporting across multiple major outlets, was that Facebook's engineers had been aware as early as 2016 of what their engagement-optimizing algorithm was actually amplifying at scale. Not connection, not community, not the things the product claimed to provide. Outrage. Because content that generates strong emotional reactions, particularly outrage, consistently produces higher engagement metrics than neutral or low arousal content. The interest graph, optimized for raw engagement, had found one of the most reliable signals in human psychology. And it wasn't curiosity or joy. The disclosed documents indicated that Facebook's engineers were aware of the engagement-harm trade-off. Reporting on the document suggested that some proposed changes to reduce harmful content amplification were not prioritized, in part because they would also reduce overall engagement metrics. The trade-off was documented. The choice was made. The algorithm had no malicious intent. It had a metric, and it followed the metric wherever it led, including places where the downstream harms were documented, and the decision was made not to intervene. Whether by design or indifference, the system optimized for engagement regardless of consequences. And that distinction matters less to the outcome than it might seem. So here's where we actually are. The platforms we still call social networks have, one by one, become interest graph engines. Some were honest about it from the beginning. Twitter's architecture signaled it early. Pinterest's own engagement data confirmed it a decade later. TikTok built the purest version of it and reached 1 billion users faster than anyone in history. Facebook was not transparent about it. And that distinction matters more than it might seem. Because when you believe you're using a social network, you interpret your feed as a reflection of your community, what your people care about, what your world looks like. When you're actually using an interest graph optimized for engagement, you're seeing what an algorithm decided would keep you most reactive, most often. That is not the same thing as your community. And the difference shapes how you understand the world you live in. The social graph versus interest graph debate was never really a technical architecture question. It was a question about what we wanted the internet to do to us. And the answer, it turns out, depends entirely on what you optimize for. The tools we build reflect the values we embed in them. When those values change quietly, without announcement, without consent, so does the world they shape. But the social graph and the interest graph aren't the only architectures competing for your attention right now. The next generation is already being built, and it's optimizing for something even harder to see. I'm here to help you know the platforms that shape how you see the world. Which platform decision do you think quietly rewired the internet without anyone asking permission? Drop it in the comments. See you on the next feed.